We're actually getting to a point where we're about a month away from having meat chickens moving back in here. And right at this moment, the barn is nowhere near ready to accept meat chickens because we've had actually a couple truck projects in here. The one truck up there, the white one, that is our youngest son's truck. He got it recently and he's doing some projects on it. And we've had Betty pick up in here, and I'll try to get up here where y'all can see what we have going on here is a four-wheeler hooked up to the cab of Betty pickup. I hope that we're able to see it. They need to get it out of the barn, and they were figuring out, could they move it by hand or not? Well, it is hard to move a pickup truck cab by hand. So Betty pickup was a 91 Dodge dually with the Cummins diesel, and there was a hydroplaning incident that did not end well for Betty pickup, and so the cab is ruined. Potentially the engine and transmission out of Betty can be put in another truck, or if the frame is still straight, potentially the frame and the engine and transmission would accept another cab and bed. So at any rate, either way, to make progress on the truck project, the cab had to be taken off. They had to figure out a way to move it. Our oldest son is missing from action here today because he's at CDL training. He's trying to work toward getting his CDL license. And so we've got our youngest son and our middle son here, and Betty is our middle son's truck, Whale, standing here in front of us with the blue sweatshirt. So, and we've got our dogs. We're calling them, they're playing real life diesel dogs today. There's Gussie, the teddy bear, and Dan the lab, and Tanner the Dotson just took off behind me to go down the other end of the yard and go see the beagle. But essentially this cab is going to go to scrap, and so we've got other things out here going to go to scrap. So for now, we're just putting the things out here that will need to go to scrap. You know, so there was Betty's hood, Betty's doors, which I didn't think the one was too bad, but they must recognize a reason that it needs to go to scrap. So they've got it moved out now. So we'll go on in the building and take a look at what's left in there. Hey, y'all did it. Gus is down there. Okay, so sorry y'all, I was talking to the guys. So this building is a 30-foot by 30-foot chicken barn, and it's only really about a year and a half old probably. We built it specifically to raise the meat chickens in, and so when you step into this part, it's intended to just be open and no partitions, nothing in here, just open space. And what we end up doing with meat chickens, is when we start them, we'll build like a confinement pretty much in the center of the building and start the birds there. And then as the birds grow and get bigger and bigger, we can expand that confinement and eventually get to the point where we take the confinement totally away. And if they're a big enough flock, they can have the whole building. So some other features of this building that were really specific to how we wanted to build it was we prioritized excellent ventilation. So one of the things we did was the wood construction, and we've let it weather and dry to the point where we are, and I know y'all can see behind me, we are seeing the gaps in between the siding boards, but we want to purchase batten strips of the same material and cover those, which, you know, we're still going to have adequate ventilation, but we're not going to have as much air moving through there. And then the other thing was the carriage doors. So on every side of the building, so that's our north side, so east, south, so there's carriage doors on each side. And on this west side, we actually have 2 sets of carriage doors there. And so we want that ventilation. When we need to enhance the ventilation, we open those up. And we also can use those to help us with controlling the intensity of the lighting in the building. So this building, for our preferences, was sized for about 400 meat chickens at one time. So for us, we're going to plan on starting 1,650 Cornish Rock Cross meat chicks during 2024. We're going to split that into 6 flocks. Our smallest flocks are going to be 125 birds at a time. Our largest flocks are going to be 425 birds at a time. So for those 425 bird flocks, this building is just exactly the size we want to use. So we've got the frame left here from Betty. We've got the engine and transmission. Whale, are those usable? Engine and transmission.
The engine is. Transmission is probably not.
So, and evaluating the frame, and we have like 25 seconds. Do you think the frame is straight, or you got problems there? No? Okay. So probably would have to put the engine in another truck to reuse, yeah. So he's working toward getting this truck to where everything is out of the meat bird barn. That's what we've got to work toward. We got to get this barn emptied back out in about 3 weeks, in less than a month, because when we're about a week away from birds moving in, we want to set the building up with like the paraphernalia we have to raise them with. So we'll see y'all again. Thanks for joining us at Twin Oaks Farm Poultry. Hope you're doing well.